Hey everyone. So this is Booster Brat here. My name is Daniel, and I'm the artist. I'm the creator. Done everything pretty much for Booster Brat, and I really just wanted to go into some of the products that are available out there. I've been at this for a couple years now, so there's been a lot of different products that I've released through streams, just sold on the website, and I think it would help people out a lot if I kind of just showed everyone exactly what is available here. So, without further ado, we're going to get started with our very, very first product here. So, which is going to be the Dark Rhinocchio promo. So, I gave these out at one of the first conventions that I ever really walked around at, and it was, I think, DesignerCon. I think it was in 2022. So, this was the very, very first card that was ever given out to anyone. And I actually just printed it on some cardstock paper. So, this is like hand cut, hand created. This is probably, I think there was, what do I say here, pop 80. So yeah, there's 80 of them produced, I think. And yeah, so this is the very first thing that I ever gave out to anyone. It wasn't even a game yet. It was just the lore and everything. So yeah, this is the first promo. So this is the very first thing if anyone's looking for the first Booster Brat thing that's out there. This is it. So let's move on to the next one, and that's the sample pack. Okay, so this is the, I think, original sample pack. So these, I actually don't have any of the cards that went in this pack. This was just another thing that I did very kind of spur of the moment. I printed out some test foils. You can actually see them on some people's social media. I can get in contact with some people and we can see. I think there's probably, I think there was 28 different foils that I printed, just one of each, and I put them in these sample packs and I shipped them out to people that were in giveaways and stuff like that. So this is just the outer packaging. It was literally just like some paper that I printed on and kind of made into a booster pack. So this is another one. This is like one of the first things that was ever given out for Booster Brat, and this was back in 2022, I believe. So next, it's gonna kind of just break this apart here. Oh, that was the OG sample pack. I guess I had that a little bit out of order, but this is the sample pack next. So this was the first actual thing that I sold on the website, and that is the sample pack here. So these came with, I believe, 11 cards and then rules. This is, again, back when it wasn't even a game. It was just kind of this, almost like a select or pick your own adventure where you could, play through all the cards, read through all the cards, go on different paths. And it hadn't become a TCG yet. It was just like a trading card story at this point. So you can see this is back in 2022. There was 100 of these. These sold out pretty much instantly or within a couple minutes. Funny story though, this actually wasn't the first product that I had printed. This was actually the second round of these sample packs that I had printed because the first round I did not, check my work. So this was actually the first one that came out, and it was the misprint sample pack. And there were some cards in here that were just misprinted. They were missing icons. I think there was a couple typos spread throughout the cards. So this was actually the very first thing that I had printed, but I didn't release this until after I had gotten the second printing and released that. And then I saw if anyone was interested in this. And again, people were interested, so I actually paired this with a promo. This is the Proofreader promo based off of, our old dog, Golden Retriever. So it's just the Proofreader promo, and it kind of goes into, checking your work. And again, and this is one of the first promos that we had, and it was I think it was the first promo that was actually available on the website. So these two came as a set, and there was 100 of these. So that is the two sample packs. Moving on, we got Spectacles of Discord next. So this was right when I was first setting up the Discord, and the first 100 people that signed up to be part of the Discord, I sent them one of these promos. So it was kind of, here you can't really see the back of it, but congratulations, you've been collected. So there was 100 of them that say OG here in the top corner. And then there was actually 100 more that I got just it says X, and those ones were available for purchase on the website. But these ones here were specifically just for people that had joined the Discord. And I always was experimenting with packaging, especially with promos in those early days. So these, I use these little plastic kind of for name badges that you would see like at conventions. So yeah, I thought that would be kind of an interesting thing to package them with. So these again are very unique. These were some of the first promos that were sold on the website. And again, this is all back in 2022. So that was Spectacles of Discord. So this is another one of the first kind of promos I did. Again, really kind of playing around with the packaging. So this is the Theme Soldier, which is a character you can see from Chapter 1. I've kind of, worked around with this art. a lot and kind of done reprints or reskins of it, and just played around with that art because he's one of my favorite kind of characters to kind of look at, and I really like the design that I came with, based heavily off of like Cuphead, that kind of thing. But again, this was in a jewel case, so I don't remember where I got the idea for this from, but there were, I think, 200 of these. I'm not sure. I think maybe either 150 or 200, and yeah, I put these together by hand. I got the promos printed, I put them in the cases. I created this kind of backing, and I used the jewel cases, and it's I think it came out really nice, and it definitely was one of the selling points for those early days, getting people involved and just seeing kind of the quality of, or just the overall artwork of what could be created for this game. At this point, it still wasn't even a game. I remember people seeing this and being like, well, is it going to be a trading card game? And it was at one of the Collecticons, I believe. So this was one of the first things that really got me thinking, like, oh, we need to add some gameplay element, or really make this into a trading card game, and not just make these trading cards where you're just collecting the story. So this was really where it kind of got some traction and got people really interested in some people that were outside of just those first initial wave of people that were founded me on Discord or Instagram. So this kind of got some eyes on me. So put that aside. So that was the theme soldier. Next were these four, and these were really something that I created, parody rarity, because I didn't want to call them parody rarity because I didn't want to have any sort of licensing issues in the future. So there was four of these, and I sold, I think, only 25 of them, and they're in these slab cases that I kind of stickered shut. You can see parody rarity. So this is the first one. This is the Hot Wheel Greymon, based off of the old Digimon card design. So I didn't want to get called out by any of these brands and stuff. So there's nothing that actually says Booster Brat on them. I covered up like the Booster Brat logo, or I kind of reworked it. So if there's ever anything, I think it even says on here, these cards are meant as a parody and not meant to be used in conjunction with any other games or properties. So yeah, so this was kind of more something that I just used as a fun thing. And in those early days, I really had a lot of cards that I couldn't actually use the artwork because I had created them before Booster Brat kind of became its own thing. So I wanted to share that artwork with you guys, but I didn't have anywhere to sell it, or I didn't have really any way to market it other than to put it on my website. So I didn't want to get kind of caught selling, because some of these brands are very protective, like especially like here, like Pokemon. There's this Into the Drawer, so it's got like Charizard, Bulbasaur, Jigglypuff, Zapdos, like a bunch of just different. And this is all just based off of the layout of the actual cards. So this is based off of a trainer card from Pokemon. So that was the second one. This third one is Ozymandias 2. So this is based off of the Star Wars CCG. So this is one of the OG cards too, and you can see this is based on an AT-AT. I mean, it's funny because I decided for whatever reason to redraw all of these templates by hand. So this might just look like a Star Wars, card with the template, but this is all drawn by me. I was just, in those early days, I was really a stickler for just, not cutting any corners, doing everything by hand. And then this was the fourth one. This is the Obsession Lotus, and this is the one that everyone was most excited for because it's based off of the Black Lotus. So I think this one sold out the most quickly. It was gone, just first couple minutes, I think. So yeah, so these four, and I really sold these four just as a means to, raise some money, because I was funding all this on my own at this beginning part here. So next we're going to go into the OST, which is short for original soundtracker, and this was the first booster pack that I ever came up with. Again, these are still not a trading card game, they're just trading cards, but I sold them in blisters like this, which are individual, and each one came with 5 cards, and you were, I think, guaranteed 1 foil per pack at least. So this is the booster pack, and then I actually have it sealed here in the case. This was the booster box. So you can see here it was just 10. I think it was 10 packs in there. It's a little bit beat up. The printing wasn't the greatest on these in the early days. But yeah, this was like one of the first booster boxes that I did, and they came with 5 cards. There's only 50 cards in this whole booster box, but there was a lot of foils, it was the exclusivity of it, I think, was what got people excited. So I can show you some of the cards here even too. Let's see. So I mean, like you'll see a lot of these cards were ones that I reused for Chapter 1, so like Soundcore ID, Fret, but they have a little bit different design. Like just the foiling on them is a little bit different. The overall design is a little bit more complicated. I really simplified it for the Chapter 1 set. So you can see these are all like kind of familiar artworks. You can see even there's some like foiling pattern on there. I honestly really like these. I think they came out really cool, and I think as a first kind of proof of concept that this could be like a randomized thing, it was really nice. So there was foil versions, and then there was also non-foil. So those are the only cards that were in there. I think there was only like 12 different cards. But then this was the card that everyone wanted, was Theme Soldier. It was like the ghost theme. So it's funny, you can see on the original soundtrack or Theme Soldier, you can see like on the original here, it's like all major notes, and then here these are all minor notes that are kind of floating at random. So these are the two. They were paired together. These were much harder to pull, and it was what everyone was kind of going for. So yeah, that was OST. Original soundtracker, so I can move these out of the way. And I was selling on the website at this point. So I think for people that had, I think, collected more than 20 of one card, you could redeem those just like we did in Chapter 1. And this was the redemption card. So it's the gold fret card. So pretty cool, pretty unique. I didn't give out too many of these. I only have, I think, the one here left. I wasn't very careful in those early days, so I kind of gave away a lot of my stock. I did a lot of giveaways and stuff. So I think this is the only one that I have left. I'm not even quite sure how many I gave out. I think on here I said Pop 15. I don't quite remember. I think that's correct, though. So this is the gold fret, and that was just like the bulk redemption. And then, oh, there was these ones too. So I wanted to make sure that everyone basically could get the whole story just by buying one pack or from buying anything. So these were kind of the fix for that, where like I kind of simplified all the artwork and put it in black and white. And if you ordered stuff at the convention, I would give you this pack of like 10 cards. And it just had all of the lore and everything on it. It just wasn't shiny or the full artwork or anything. But it was another way for me to kind of market and to have people collect and to be able to read the whole story and not feel like I have to buy a whole box to get every single card. And then this was actually the first, I think this was the first playable card, because you can see on the bottom, it says, if you play this card on your first turn of the game, search your deck for any card and put it in your hand. So this was the first playable card, and this was another one where I think this is given away with orders over $100. So yeah, so this is available through the website. Another one that was, I handmade these. So that's like hand foiled. You put like a sticker sheet over it. I cut these out. I think I used a Cricut to cut these. So they're not like perfect. These aren't gradable. They're kind of beat up on the back here. But again, it was just another thing that I was experimenting with, just, you know, ways to get product out there, because that's really what people are always interested in, is the newest, shiniest thing. So I'm constantly releasing more promos, and even looking at all this stuff now, it's kind of amazing, even to me, how much I've actually done just in small batches and small little releases. These. So here's the Conscriptor business cards. So these were given out basically since the beginning. So this was the very first one that I did, and it had the QR code and all my information on here. Kind of just telling a little bit of the story and the lore here. But yeah, I mean, you guys will probably recognize this artwork as a card from Chapter 1. So this was the very first one. This was the red. And then after I was giving these out with orders for free. So whenever anyone ordered anything, I'd throw one of these in there, which is still the case today. So I started with this one in 2022. I think this one was 23, yeah. So this is the second one. It's the blue version. So you can see each one kind of has a different color. So this is the red, and it has the circle. The blue has the diamond. And then this is the third one. This is the star one. And this was, I think, still 2023, yeah. So I think I made this right around when the Kickstarter was happening. And then there was a fourth one that I'll show a little bit later, and this is the the current conscriptor is this is version number 5, and this one's actually playable, so you can actually put this in your deck as a separate card. So yeah, these are kind of really fun little collectible thing here, and they're really just basically my business card. I use them as my business card. I give them out as a business card, and I think it really attracts people and it gets people excited about it, just because it is something unique, I think. So let's see, the conscriptor. Oh, next would be the early Squirrel box. So this was kind of an amalgamation of everything I had done. Um, I had a lot of extra promos and stuff left over, so this was the early Squirrel box here. You can kind of see it. Very simple. There wasn't really much text on it at all, except for the back here, kind of explaining what you got. And each one of them, you got at least one of those booster packs. You got some sort of out of print or promo card, and then you got these three. These were three artworks that I created specifically for Chapter 1, and these were kind of the preview of them. So these were some new characters, Skeempty, Misprint, and then this one was Spark as he's older. And all three of these artworks were based off of ideas submitted by the community. So I think I should have had Grumble Gamer, Andrew Borsma, and Joe George. So these were the ones I collaborated with to kind of create these ideas. So, and these are obviously all in use today, and I really thank those community members for putting forward these ideas and inspiring me to create these. So each of these three came in those boxes, and then there was a couple other extra ones that were kind of exclusive to it as well. I put some of these in there, the Dark Rhinokios. I put some of the random packs in there. Everything was on these backer cards too. So this OST chapter pack, the white cards, I couldn't put the whole thing on there. This was the one that other people were really excited for, which I was surprised by. And it was the original printer. They had these printer cards that were inserted amongst all the cards, and they just kind of denoted where things were supposed to be cut or how things were supposed to be laid out. So when I showed people this, they were like, oh, I really like that. So I added this as a kind of special little bonus in some of the boxes. Kind of a unique thing. It just says, see, I don't even think it says anything on here that would link it to Booster Brat. It might on the back, actually. Let me see. I don't quite remember what it had. Oh, it's actually just a Booster Brat card on the back. So yeah, so this was kind of a unique little thing. And I like these backer cards too, because I made them basically so they can fit in a 2x2 page that you can put into your binder. So there's actually there's a normal 9-pocket binder. So these are a 2x2. So these can actually fit just in your binder. The early Squirrel. So this was I think one of the last releases before the Kickstarter. It was the one that was really driving the Kickstarter and really getting people involved. It was what allowed people to play. So this one's sealed too. This is the 2-player starter. You'll notice this artwork is something that I used again for Chapter 1. So yeah, I gave you 2 mini decks, and it allowed you kind of just to play with an opponent. It can have some extra cards you can add in once you had played a couple games. I would really base it heavily off of the 2000 Magic 2-player starter set. I really like that idea. So the unique thing about this, though, was that there was, I think, 12 different foils that you could pull. So again, a lot of these were either redeveloped or reused for Chapter 1. So the Asharian Snipe, Buggy Suggy, Minekeeper, all these different ones here. This was the one that was the most unique. This artwork has never been reproduced in any other set. It was just the squirrel. It was harder to pull, and yeah, it was the one that kind of everyone wanted. So you would get 3 of these per starter deck. So there was, incentive for you to buy a couple and to open them up and to share those cards with, to share the decks with friends, to get other people involved. Another fun fact, this was actually how Rhinokio 1.1 looked. And if you have the card from Chapter 1, you'll notice that there's like a wolf head drawn on it. And it was for some sort of fan giveaway contest, I think. I drew a wolf head on it, and I just liked how it looked. So this was the early version before it had that, but I really liked how the wolf head looked on it. So in Chapter 1, he got a wolf head. So yeah, you can just see a lot of these are the same cards that are in Chapter 1 are very similar. This one too, this is from the cover. So this Indoctrinate. Another one that was unique just to this box. It came in every single box. And it showed up as a secret rare in Chapter 1 with, it was all the gold version of it. So that was 2-player set, and that really brought us through the Kickstarter. So moving on now. Oh, I guess there was a couple of these too. So these were given out at some of the conventions. These are probably my favorite cards that I've done. I like the foiling on them. This is the original misprint, which is actually, it's funny because the version of this is on the booster pack. And the version that you can pull from Chapter 1 is the gold version. So this is actually the card that's on the booster pack. It was made specifically for the conventions. And then this is the Dark Rhinokio. And again, this was kind of, the artwork was tweaked and changed a little bit for Chapter 1. But yeah, these were the two that I gave out at conventions, and they really got people, motivated, and they can see kind of where the cards were going as far as what the layout could be and how much you could push the artwork. So yeah, these were definitely two of my favorite things that I've done so far. So this is all leading into the Kickstarter. And then these were the last two, I think, before the Kickstarter. So it was the Builder and the Champion. And these are still available, by the way. We're going to be doing a tournament of some sort. I haven't quite figured out the rules yet, but these are going to be the prizes for that, for the winner. And for anyone who plays, they'll be getting the Builder as well. So these were given out to a lot of the people that were helping me with play testing, with really spreading the brand and just getting people involved. So these are, again, two promos. They actually have the real Chapter 1 card backs on them. So these are playable. And yeah, these are some of the most unique ones, and they were only given out to people that, in my mind, had, performed acts or duties to really earn them. So they are, to me, these are some of the most unique and valuable cards. And that would take us through the Kickstarter, I believe. Let's see what's next. Oh. So yeah, during the Kickstarter, there was to kind of drive up some interest. I did a photo contest, so you can actually see on here. That's a photo that was actually submitted by Saki, and yeah, this is another one of those gold cards, playable. Not very many of them were given out, and it's a super unique promo, and it was given for people that had participated in the photo contest. I think that definitely should take yeah, so this is the first thing that was released after the Kickstarter, so I'll do a separate video for the Kickstarter products. But a bunch of people had submitted some prompts, ideas, and just different artworks. And these were a set of, I think, 8 cards that I had picked from, all the pool of submissions. And I thought they were really cool, so these are the ones and I kind of drew out lore. I had the artist help me draw out the lore. And I kept this kind of this fun white border with the really colorful kind of outer part. I really like these. These are really fun. These were never for sale. These were just given out as a reward for people for kind of contributing and adding to the community. Next, let's see what we have next. I think we're getting close to the end here. Oh, so this was given out for the holidays. I gave it to anyone who had backed the Kickstarter. So this was a special conscriptor promo. This was number 4. I think the one that we're on right now is 5, I believe. This was one of the special ones that I gave out that year. So again, very very unique to people that had backed the Kickstarter. Next, we got the 2-player. Oh, okay. So I still had some of these 2-player sets that were left over, and a couple of the cases that I had been damaged, so I didn't want to sell them, as they were. So I created this sticker that was unique. It just says QA error, and it was made specifically for these 2-player starter sets, and then it was also paired with the QA Tyrant, which is another promo, playable, another unique promo. Got some lore about how he, he's overseeing the supply chain, basically. So I tend to like to reuse or repackage product that I think I want to share with people, but I'm not comfortable sharing it as it is. So this is another one, just like those original proofreader cards, where I think it adds some value, definitely giving you a unique promo, and just even changing up the box art a little bit. I think helps. So that's 2-player blind box. Okay, so this is all after the Kickstarter at this point. So this has had some of the Kickstarter packs in it. Fun little box. Gave you at least one out of printer promo card. I think it was 3 or 4 packs. 4 packs. And then you got one of 4 promos. So these are the promos you could have gotten from there. So there was Moth Mech Mark II, which was evolved from the Moth Mech from Chapter 1. I also made this one, Froggo Overhop, and he was based heavily on Over the Garden Wall, the comic. And then there was 2 that I had actually commissioned, and this was Tori, and this was from Milk, who is a heavily active member on the community, and then this is another one that they did, Zaru and Gory. So these 2 were unique to that as well. So these are the 4 actually that you could pull, and you got 1 per box. So if you got lucky and you got 4 boxes, you would hopefully get all 4 promos. So these were unique just to the blind box. Move that aside, and then I think these are the last couple promos here. So this one was Grave Troll. I gave to, Grave is a great member of the community. If you haven't seen some of her streams, you definitely should. She gives away stuff all the time. She's a great active member. And I created this for her specifically because of how much, how much time she was putting into really building out Booster Brat, and she helped me a lot with the play testing and all that kind of stuff. So this was made specifically for her. She's the only one that has, this card to give out. So this was created by the High Horsey, and I just put this whole card together for her. And with that promo, these are the last two promos that have become available. And this is the Folk Wizard and the Control Alt Djinn. And I created these specifically for two different YouTubers. This was for Nostalgianomics, a PokeTuber that I watch, and then this is for Cool Trainer Ryan. And I created both of these artworks with them as the base model for this character, and I gave it to them. These copies, I guess, were signed by them, and they sent them back to me. So yeah, these were, again, very exclusive to them. The people that were on their streams and had bought packs were given some, and people got, first choice that were part of their communities. So all these cards are out there. There's people that I've seen sell them on eBay. There's people on Discords. There's a lot of different ways. You just have to kind of reach out. So if any of these cards are striking your fancies and you've never seen them before, there's always more. There's always more people out there selling them. I'm never I'm always understanding as far as people come in and out of the community. So many people have come back and expressed interest after being gone for a long time. So there's always people coming back. There's always new cards kind of flowing in and out. So even if you can't find any of these cards immediately, they're out there. You just have to kind of ask around. You have to look around. So yeah, this is kind of a breakdown of everything outside of the Kickstarter and outside of Chapter 1.5 that I've released. So I think this is everything. If there's anything else I think of, I can always add more to the Discord or kind of just share some pictures. But I believe this is all the promos and all of the products that I've released so far. So thank you guys for, just checking this out, and thank you for your support. And I hope we can, chat more on Discord. So thank you, everyone.